Well, welcome to the Faith Horizons show again. And today we have with us Marvin Daniels. Welcome, Marvin Daniels.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Welcome, Marvin.
And
Thanks,
Marvin
John.
Daniels is the executive director of the Hope Center. I've been to the Hope Center before with Marvin a few years ago, probably 5 years ago, maybe 3 to 4 years ago. And I got to meet Marvin. But today, John Losh located the same person that I did. So, John, how did you meet Marvin?
Ran across him on Facebook.
Oh, great.
And and I want to point out, a lot of people point out, the negatives of social media. And true, there's a lot of bad stuff out there.
Yeah.
But if you're using it properly, especially if you're a
Yes.
believer and you're using it for ministry purposes, it's a wonderful tool.
Yes,
and
it
God
is.
has been so faithful to provide for me not only to run across people for this podcast, but the other podcasts and ministries that I'm involved in to help recruit people for. And it's just been a blessing, and it's brought great people, and I'm a relationship person, so it's helped me build some great relationships, reconnect with old relationships, things like that. So, it's, if you use it for the right thing, it's a tool that God puts in your hands. Just use it properly.
That's well said.
That's great. Yeah. Well, Marvin, can you just tell us a little bit about the Hope Center, where it's at? And then I forgot to ask, when did it start, and stuff like that. Can you just let us know?
Oh, absolutely. The Hope Center is a community and youth development organization that's situated on the east side of Kansas City, right there on Linwood Boulevard and the corner of Benton Boulevards.
Okay.
For 26 years. It started in 1999 by Chris Jaley and a group of other young adults, and it has continued to flourish up to this point. As a community and youth development organization that's been around 26 years, we have had the privilege in 2009 to develop and establish a medical clinic called Hope Family Care Center, which addresses pediatrics, dermatology,
That's crazy,
mental health, nutrition, phlebotomy. And so they have in general medicine, they have the ability to care for the needs of our community. And then in 2011, after all of the elementary schools had closed down in the neighborhood due to the loss of accreditation, we had the opportunity to be asked if we would develop by the families in the neighborhood to reestablish that elementary school, which we did, and established Hope Leadership Academy, which serves K through 5th grade as a public charter school.
That's crazy.
And then in 2013 and 14, when I arrived, we were able to secure a plot of land on the corner of Benton Boulevard in Linwood, and we formed a partnership with Santa Fe Homeowners Association in which we created a community garden. And so our master gardener takes care of that land and produces fruits and vegetables for the neighborhood and for the community.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's so cool. Well, I mean, you guys are really in the middle of the east side down there, Linwood Boulevard, and and you're in a, I would say, fairly, at least one of the most developed corridors of the east side. Because Linwood Boulevard is a pretty well developed corridor. Yes,
Linwood and in the corner of Prospect. And I know that it's been newsworthy over the last few weeks, but there are some things that are noteworthy.
Yeah.
For instance, there at the Hope Center, we have the opportunity to serve K through 12th grade.
Yeah.
And to see these young people continue to grow and develop. We are asset-based programming, and that just simply means that there are certain core values that we teach our young people to develop the skills in their own lives, rather it's the constructive use of time, rather it's learning how to focus and be on balance, to have goals and objectives.
That's so cool.
And discipline. It's the area of character and training that we do, leaders in training as a program that we also instill. And so we have as an organization, we really focus on families. We want to see families strengthen and develop. And so as a Parents and Partners program brings families together to help build the specific skill sets that they need and to grant certain opportunities for resources that they can gain. We have a men's fraternity program that brings together young men ages 22 to 72. And to see this intergenerational Bible study that gathers together. And it's really a talk time around the tables where we really focus on specific questions. And we just address these 4 tenets of how to lead courageously and accept responsibility and reject passivity and invest eternally. And so we go through these tenets in a variety of ways as well. And so we get the privilege of the combination of youth development and community development in order to fulfill our vision, which is to develop healthy communities where the vulnerable can have hope and flourish. Because Proverbs 13:12 says, when hope is deferred, the heart grows sick. But when dreams are realized, they become like trees of life. And for the last 26 years, we've been trying to reproduce trees of life in the lives of people.
That's so cool. And then as you guys have gotten into it, it seems like as you guys got into the Hope Center thing, you guys have discovered new needs, you know? And it's so like when you, the things like you said in 2009, you started the health part aspect of it. So that was one of the first needs that you identified that community needed, right? And so you developed something that would help that need, right? And then 2011, the community needed a school, and specifically a public school, you know, in that area. And so that's what you've done. And so it seems like the Hope Center is like just this place that finds needs and meets it. You know?
And though we don't seek to be all things to all people, because we don't seek to replicate
everything.
Right. We can't replicate everything for everyone. So our partnerships and our collaborations are critical and key. Absolutely. Because our resources are limited. So we won't seek to repeat or anything that somebody else is doing. We don't
partner
seek to
with
do that
that
kind
organization.
of
Right,
exactly. We'll partner with them. And so, yes, the neighbors, our community have been the driving forces between what we have the assets to address.
Okay.
And that's why we got involved in being able to acquire land that was right around us in order to be able to make sure that our families and our residents who want to not be transient, want some form of sustainability, as long as it meets the vision that we've had of why we even exist and it responds to our why, we're able to respond to it. And so we have 25 contiguous lots.
That's incredible.
And without any structures on them. So those are designed for us to be able to build sustainable home ownership with single-family homes and some duplexes to increase density in our community. And we are grateful for our central City Economic Development Corporation.
Is that city based, right?
Yes, it's city based.
That's so cool. You know, our city does get involved.
They do. You know, and I know there's a lot they can do, but the East Side has been disinvested for decades.
Yeah.
So we're grateful that they awarded us a $1.9 million
That's so wonderful.
Grant to be able to lend towards
healthy starting amount.
Yes.
Now you said the whole project though wasn't 1.9 though.
Well, the whole project would be $9 million, but we were grateful for the starter gift. You know, and
for the 25 lots, right?
Yes.
Okay. For that portion of your ministry.
That's correct. Our community garden is a blessing. We get a chance to finance it, of course, but they be in partnership with Santa Fe Homeowners Association and have them provide for us a master gardener from the neighborhood.
Oh, that's great.
Who's been committed, you know, to making sure fruits and vegetables are grown on a daily basis. And if you come on the corner of Linwood and Benton, you won't find a fence. It's a wide open space for people to come help themselves to fruits and vegetables that's available to them. You're in a food desert in so many different ways, but the options for healthy food are limited. So we were responding to those limitations that we have in our neighborhood.
Yeah, they do have, because that area does not have a lot of grocery stores in that area.
Yeah, we just got Sunfresh 4 years ago,
That's
and
wonderful.
that's struggling right now to maintain its place and position. So it is an ongoing saga as it relates to our economic battles. You know, but our economic battles also stem from spiritual battles. You know, I can't let it just be said, right?
They always do.
You know,
they always do.
And so we always recognize that for us, when we say that we want to see a community develop hope and have the ability to flourish, we define flourishing as, first and foremost, being able to see families live in an environment that is safe, an environment that allows them to be able to engage and connect with one another. We see that as having a school that see that young people can actually learn,
Yes.
and are invested in the development of their mind and have the ability to bring them together and become innovative in their learning.
Yeah.
We believe that it's important for economics to be a part of it so that individuals have the resources to be able to stay in their own homes, and resources to purchase homes, and resources to be able to live in rental properties if they desire to do so. We see also the opportunity for engagement, where healthy engagement between adult and adult, between child and adult, youth and adult, and those who are in authority. And those who are in authority having a healthy dialogue and engagement with the residents that reside in the community.
That's
And
crazy.
so that's really, really
That's
important
good.
to happen and to engage in. And then finally, it's the ecclesia, where the worship centers around our community come together and to be the salt and light necessary in our community to see transformed hearts. Because we know building new houses don't guarantee good homes.
No.
But a transformed heart with a renewed mind by the power of the gospel can create such.
Amen to
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Amen to that.
you guys are really in the battle, because it's like it's like, but this is God's battle, and so he is. It's like,
Yes, sir.
Well,
all right.
and I love what you said earlier, the principles you pointed out. When my son was young, I read the book that I had to look it up real quick, Raising a Modern Day Knight by Robert Lewis.
Yes.
And it suggests having ceremonies for boys at certain ages,
That's right.
like 13 and 18. And I had one at our house for him when he was 13, had a bunch of guys from church that came, and they just gathered around him and affirmed him and said, if you keep God the center of your life, one of them made the example that one of the biggest examples of leadership in the Bible were shepherds.
Yes.
And that shepherds had their staff, that
That's
they
right.
used as a tool. And one of them carved him like a staff. And ahead of that, I put a thing up in his room that had a picture of a knight on there, and it said what it means to be a man. And it was accepts responsibility, rejects passivity,
Yes.
leads courageously. And I added in, puts on the armor daily.
Yes.
So the poor principal,
Yes.
I'm like, I've been there, done that, So I mean, those are great principles, and those are totally scriptural, biblical. And I assume you mentioned dialogue with people in authority. I know you have the Center Patrol Police Station
Yes.
right near there. When I was a civilian with the Kansas City Police Department for 12 years, I worked out of headquarters, but in the records unit, I forget what the reason was, but they a lot of times would send one or two of us over to Center Patrol to work for
Yes.
the evening, and I worked the evening shift 3 to 11. So I worked a lot of times at Center Patrol. And so when you mentioned where it's at, I was like, oh, that's right near Center
Yeah.
Patrol.
Yes.
So I assume you get the police department and the officers.
Oh yes, Center
Yeah.
Patrol as well as East Patrol, and it's important because again, there's got to be a different way in which we look at one another,
Yes.
so we can align differently.
Yeah.
There are police officers who desire to utilize their services and the skill set and training for the benefit and the safety of our community. And then at the same time, when there's mishaps that take place,
Right.
when there's misdialogue, it's when we view each other without the dignity of humanity, then that's when we see greater conflicts begin to
Yeah.
arise. Even among each other when that
that's
happens.
true
And
for
so,
everybody.
when churches get into conflict, instead of resolving conflict like Matthew 18 teaches us how to do that, we wind up splitting and forming other churches. So we all have to embrace the truth of God's word. At the Hope Center, what we say is we want to connect faith, what we believe, with life, how we live,
Yeah.
Right.
and make a connection between the two. And so we get the chance to be able to do that,
Yeah.
even when anybody who comes into our programming, they're going to always experience two things. They're going to experience individuals loving on them, and they're going to hear people speak truth to them.
That's awesome.
And even if they reject the truth that's spoken to them, they won't leave out there without feeling loved by us.
That's so cool.
And so it's really imperative for us as individuals who are people who are following Christ that make up an organization, but we're not a church. We are a community youth development organization, and each one of us go to our own churches that we are members of.
Yeah.
And so our community dynamics that we seek to do is we want to have the two pillars of righteousness and justice that loom large within our community context through the lens of the Hope Center. And that's what we hope to see happen in the midst of it. You know, there's so many fun things that occur that we get a chance to love on. I mean, for men, when you see together older men being able to talk and encourage younger men, and younger men to talk and encourage older men, that's just a real blessing that we get a chance to see in our community. Just recently, we had the opportunity to, the Hope Center, first of all, was able to purchase in 2005 a campus that was once formerly owned by the Catholic Archdiocese.
Is that the building that's right next to you guys?
Yes, it's Church of the Annunciation.
I was like to say you say your Hope Center is not a church. Well, you bought one.
Right, we did. We bought a church building with a school building upon it, with a rectory and a nunnery that was there, and all those buildings, because they vacated in the late 70s. They started to decay.
They needed significant remodeling and restoration. Restoration's expensive.
Yes. Prayer is important, but it won't restore a building without the dollars that go behind it. And so we were able to do that with the rectory, which is now office building.
Yeah.
I mean, when we first moved into there, we cut on the water, the pipes burst. It became a pool inside the building.
So you say rectory, but people would see it if they were driving by as a house.
Yes,
right?
they would see
it's
this
a rectory.
blue house.
It's a blue house. Yeah.
That we changed to a blue house so that it would look like an office building, but it still looks like a house in the community.
So it is, but that was originally the rectory of the Catholic diocese,
where the priest and his staff would live.
Okay.
And when in the midst of that building was abandoned and it was being shared by individuals who were squattering in there and the rats that were in there. So once it was all cleared out, when the water was released and went into the basement, when the plumbers came in to clean and to stop and to replace some of the piping, they noticed that asbestos was in the building.
Oh, gee.
So it became larger than a $500 bill, but a $10,000 bill.
Pit, basically.
But it was great to have that done. Staff was working remote at the time, and because we wanted the school building to have the space necessary to grow, each grade a year, and it wouldn't be able to do that if my staff was still in it. So we were able to get it fixed up. Staff was, that fall of 2014, we were able to be in the building, and we just gradually continue to do the repairs within the facility.
Do you know what the overall bill ended up being for that?
Oh, my goodness. We was definitely...
Or do you even want to go there?
I know. We were definitely north of $30K, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah.
But it was a blessing in that, and we're in it now, and it's been really great.
So that the hopes that the what you call now, which was the larger building on there, the actual Catholic, the church part of it, would be, you guys are now calling the Gathering KC, right?
Yes.
And so that, when I first spoke to you, you guys had not had some extra finances for that, and you guys were just now then praying for that to be developed, which it's a very large building, and these buildings, when they are restored, they're really cool, but quite an effort to get it done.
We love the over 15,000 square feet that it brings.
And that is what do you call it again?
We call it the Gathering KC. Okay. It's a program and event venue.
It's a program and event venue.
And we get a chance to, when we first came together, we were all the pastors into the building, and we asked them, what would you like this to be? Okay. What would you like to see this to be? And, of course, there's 10 congregations gathered together, and the last thing they said they wanted to see in there was another congregation. So they said, we want to see this needs to become a neutral asset in our community, where all people can come and gather together in it. And so we defined what that would be like, but they gave us at least the incentive to say what they wanted to see happen.
Okay.
And so we spent time together just canvassing the neighborhood, talking to individuals, it was about, half and half. Half said that's a money pit. You might as well tear that down and build something brand new that you guys can really utilize. Others reminded us, like Dr. Margaret Johnson in her late 80s. She reminded me, hey, Marvin, I just want you to know buildings have memories. And when she said that, somehow that resonated with me. Buildings have memories. That we wanted to say, you know what, let's create new memories. And so we started my board agreed to do so, who are my bosses. So they agreed for us to do so. And we started going on the developing a capital campaign, which was originally going to require $4.8 million. But after this, this was during the year of 2022, after COVID, all of a sudden they realized that materials got even more expensive, so it became a $6.8 million venture.
So the nails went from 40 cents to 75 cents.
Right. Just the same nail.
It's the same nail, guys.
And I was just like, oh gosh. So, but we were able to get through there. Through it. We still have $2 million to still raise, but we were able to finish the building, the facility itself.
And so now you're using it.
And now we utilize it. We had our grand opening. We finished it in December 2024, thanks to Straba Construction and Strata Architects.
Oh, that's great.
Two wonderful organizations that
yeah.
support the Hope Center, helped to make sure that it was completed like it was their own.
So this is newly done.
Yes.
December is not, 6 months ago, 5 months ago. Yeah.
It was January that we did the grand opening.
Sure, yeah.
But we did a soft opening December 13th because we wanted to do our Christmas party for the community.
Yeah, makes sense, yeah.
So we brought together 300 families that evening, and they were in awe because they've heard us talk about this, but they've never seen it yet. And to see this facility inside their community, they were in awe. I mean, there were adults crying because they said, this is for us?
Yeah.
And we was like, yes, this is for you. And it just created this sense of gratitude that they had for the investment, that it was a great investment to go into it. But to see the gratitude of the children and their families was even overwhelming. And now we have the opportunity to utilize it for 4 things that we want to see happen in there. Inspiration, we want to see celebration, we want to see educational events that takes place, and innovative events
that
great.
Takes place. You said that.
It's a great asset to our community, the newest asset in our community. And hopefully this September we'll break ground for our first house to be constructed.
So those are all individual lots, right?
Those are all individual lots.
Okay. So you've acquired through over time or all the same time?
Oh, over time.
I figured
were
over
acquiring
time.
several lots collectively, and when we found out something else was opening up, we would get it from the land bank with the vision that we were going to restore this community. And so we're naming it, for the naming sake of it, we're calling it Hope Village. Yeah. Just to once again recreate this village.
Isn't that the truth? There's other ministries in town, and I won't name names, but they said one of the things that you got to do is we got to buy up the empty lots and the broken down buildings and use them for kingdom purposes, because like what you're saying, with the new gathering KC space, people are going in there now and like, oh my God, I've had a taste of heaven. I mean, it's really like what it is.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like from going through a neighborhood where you might have some trash along the street, or it's not being taken care of as well, and then you go into a space, you're like,
yeah,
okay,
when
it's
you
a
see
whole
decay
shock
all around you.
That's what I'm saying.
And you see vibrancy that's now starting to breathe some life into the area in which I live. Yeah, that brings joy. That bursts a lot of joy.
Well, because like when you medicine, I'm assuming, with medicine, the first thing they're trying to do is they're trying to get to clean, healthy skin, and then they can work from there to push back the infection, right? But they have to protect what's healthy, and so like you guys are trying to breathe healthy living in all different aspects in this area. So tell me, you got another project that's kind of still on the dream zone, but it's called the multiplex. You tell me a little bit
Yes,
about
yes.
that. This
Horizon, the
guy's got
horizon.
plans.
Well, we own a city block except for 2 structures on it, and we're hoping that that will come into the fold as well. But we're preparing ourselves to build something that's going to be as transformative in our community as the Gathering. We've given one part of this land to Ad Hoc Against Crime to be able to build their Healing and Justice Center, to be able to have opportunities to train and retrain individuals who are coming home from reentry, others who having a place to handle conflicts and mediation in our community, and to do a lot of violence prevention initiatives. One of the greater of the violence prevention initiative is this multiplex that brings together businesses, medicine, technology, the arts, and recreation, all in one facility. We're hoping that this 3-level, 56,000 square foot building would host a 8-lane bowling alley.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
That would be a
self-sustaining.
Right. John said he loves that.
Yeah.
And so it'll be a self-sustaining business within our facility.
So it'll be a rental. It'll be renting space to the other tenants.
We will own it,
tenants,
but we will
tenants,
we will be utilizing it as a business in our community. We also will have a medical clinic that will also be not only provide general medicine, but pediatrics, vision and dental care, and a pharmacy. We will have mental health as well, and we'll have a counseling room there. We want to have virtual reality rooms.
Which I said I got a guy for.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to that, because we want to see virtual reality more than just in the gaming sense of things, but even how to utilize virtual reality to help individuals depict a scenario of how to resolve conflict in a peaceable way.
Yeah, that's great.
And this company has they're in North Kansas City, and like I said, and I know they have programs that can help people with that need physical therapy.
Yes.
People that can help, even like veterans or people with PTSD, maybe even recovery from domestic violence.
Yes.
Which I can relate to, because both me and my sister and my mom are domestic violence survivors. So I think this guy would be a great fit for you. And hopefully, when you get the bowling alley developed, one of these days on one of my days off, my wife's going to go to work and say, "So what are you going to do today?" "I'm going to go bowl with Marvin."
I would look for that and welcome that greatly. But that's a great, and I can't wait to connect with him in RKC, because that's a great avenue, as well as e-gaming that we would host, a sound studio. We have a full recreation room. We have a pop-up kitchen, a coffee shop as well.
God, dude, coffee shops.
Yes.
Oh man, coffee shops. We love coffee shops.
Well,
we have a ministry called KC Kingdom Builders.
Yeah.
And we need to get back to having meetings.
Yeah,
by the
I
way.
know. I'm worried.
But anyway, the idea was we're going to meet a couple of times a month, and it's going to be Christians from all over the Kansas City area who will gather, and we either will have one central speaker, or somebody like me who goes out and researches all kinds of different ministries can say, okay, this ministry has this going on, this ministry has this going on, this ministry has this going on, like this month or next month or whatever. And if anybody wants to get involved in those, they can do that. But we're going to meet at different coffee shops around the city, so that they can all get business from it.
Oh, see, I'm hoping that we're one of them.
We're all checking in there, saying we're at this coffee shop doing the KC Kingdom Builders thing and stuff.
Yeah.
See, this horizon that we're talking about now, we know it's not a reality, but I'm speaking
That's why it's
into
Faith
existence.
Horizons,
That's
man.
right.
We believe that there's good things on the horizon.
We've already seen what you guys have been able to accomplish, so there's no doubt that this vision is going to become a reality.
Amen.
And we're looking forward to what part we as individuals and our ministries and stuff can play in this.
So I was going to say on the east side, when you say coffee shop, I'm thinking to myself, how many coffee shops are on the east side? Not many. Not many. I try to find them. They're not there.
If you go east of Prospect, good luck, right?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
And the problem we also have
Prospect is recent. It's not, this is like new territory.
And we still haven't even landed a coffee shop there.
Yeah.
Even if you go east of 71 Highway.
Yeah.
Where we are. And so we don't have even a sit-down restaurant. Everything's fast food.
Yeah, that's sad.
So there's tremendous needs in the disinvestment on the east side that we want to see reinvested.
So, like, like when you talk about like the industrialization of the city, like you going through different industrial eras, so like coffee shops is not there yet. You haven't made it to the coffee shop stage. And that's because what is the community lacking? What does it need for that? You know what I mean? What does it need to sustain a coffee shop? And then what does it need to have a want for that?
Yeah.
Like we have to want conversation. We have to want a place to plug a computer in and do, work from a computer.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But
a podcast studio.
But what I'm saying is that these type of jobs are not being sought after in that community yet. You know what I mean? Like just like where I can show up and do websites at the coffee shop now I've got my own little website company going. So those are the things that
Yeah, we're hoping to intervene on that.
And you guys are really in that on the, you said the innovation, business innovation. You've got you recently did something with the at the gathering.
Yes.
KC thing was like
Kimberly Miller. She brought in his business incubators. Yes, and
God, I swear though, it's the best thing.
It's wonderful watching these young people, these women,
Yeah.
be able to present their business ideas and to be able to hear a panel that would fund them and support them and give them positive feedback. So yes, we want to use our space to be able to create those opportunities for our community.
Retraining the wealth mindset too.
Yes.
It's really it's a fight. Like we talk about poverty, and I need to have a podcast with somebody specifically about poverty, but like poverty is a mindset. Because if you take a very wealthy person and put them and take all their money away from them and take everything away from them and put them in a poor setting, with no resources, they will create resources and get out of that situation because they don't have a mindset.
Right. And they've had the tools necessary in order for them to do so.
Yeah.
And what we have to continue to do is provide the tools. We call them assets with the young people and the families we're working with. The assets necessary to be able to think more creatively. Yeah. Because they're creative. Folks
people
in
are
poverty
creative.
Are highly creative on how they're going to survive.
And they're not all in poverty. I'm just saying, but that is one of the fights you're fighting,
And yet, in that is how do we take, like for instance, I want the drug dealer who comes to know Christ to be able to still use his evangelistic skills now in a different way.
Entrepreneurial skills, right?
Yeah, right. I don't want them to come to know Jesus and all of a sudden they act like they don't know what the street is like. I want you to be able to utilize your skill sets now for the glory of God.
It's like the old saying, give a man a fish to eat for a day, teach a man to fish and he'll eat for a lifetime. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, maybe I'm just speculating here, but something that maybe I have this vision for a ministry that I wanted to start in the Northland. Mm-hmm. I'm a lifelong Northland resident. Both of my parents spent many years of their life in nursing home facilities. And me and groups from a church I was part of went and did services at both these facilities, and and I see the needs there, and so I've always had this vision for a ministry that would bring together churches and these nursing home facilities from all over. And like I said, I would probably start in the Northland and call it the Northland Coalition for Care Facility Missions, and it would bring those people together for a monthly either lunch, breakfast, something, coffee, something, and we would hear from at least one of those facilities a month, and they would and they could pass around a list of here's the needs at all these different facilities, and each church could say, okay, we'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do that, and it could maybe start in the Northland, and then someone could pick up that vision and move it out south. And who knows? Maybe your facility one day could host something like that could bring together those kind of the care facilities and the churches in that area in the Eastern Corridor there to hear the needs of those care facilities and how those churches in the Eastern Corridor can say, we'll meet this
if he's got enough care facilities in his neighborhood, he'd be all for that.
Listen, you resonate, right? You resonate with those experiences. Like my mother is with us now as well, and she's in the memory care of Benton House because she has dementia. Right. And we're there every single day.
That's a tough one, man.
It is tough.
Tough issue.
But we're there every single day, and what I get the privilege of doing is not just seeing my mom, but everyone that's in there. You know, to be able to greet them, to hug them, to shake the men's hands and all. And it's life-giving to them in that way. And so whenever there's someone there that's either doing some puzzles or the activities director is doing something with them. But what I love is when a church group comes in and they come in and they're singing and they want to paint nails and they want to do different
they're loving
things.
On the residents.
They're loving on them because so many may be there and their family's out of town and they don't get the visitors. You know. Others, they know who we are because the Daniels are there every single day. You know, but it's beneficial to us because we too live in the North.
And some families just don't care.
Yeah.
They stick their loved ones in there and they walk away.
Yeah,
and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately, that's true.
So we got we could go on about different things all day long. Anyway, so we got the Hope Center, we got the Gathering KC, which is the large, how many is it, 15,000 square feet, you said?
15,000 square feet, 300 capacity.
You've got a 25 continuous lots. You've got a you've got a multiplex thing you want to get going. You got Hope Leadership Academy. Then you're doing business presentations. And then one thing you also said was you have 3 houses. One of them is for your male staff. One of them is for your female staff, like interns. And then another one is what are you doing with
We
the
call
other
that as an incubator house where we take young couples and help them to learn how to become homeowners.
That's crazy. And so you're basically trying to change the dynamic of, hey, you don't have to rent for the rest of your life. You can also own, which then also ends up being wealth creation, right, for their life.
Absolutely.
And that's
you learn it.
It's important,
You learn the details.
Firsthand.
You learn how to budget. You learn all those principles of what it really means to be a homeowner.
Yeah. And so then another thing, though, but what started all this, though, like you guys have got all these different missions, things now. What started this all was this community thing. Yeah. You started loving on a community. Like I know that Juneteenth is coming up, and you guys, I always see the pictures from these things. They got all these people playing basketball, throwing water at each other, whatever.
Yes, drinking
lemonade, getting sticky fingers, whatever.
We do several outdoor community outreach events throughout the year.
Yeah.
Juneteenth is coming up on June 19th, and it's an opportunity to bring together the community.
Yeah.
Both for information and others for inspiration, but more importantly, to get them to connect with each other. Yeah. And we bring together from 500 to 1,000 people in our community. There is no police presence there.
That's incredible.
But there's no conflicts that happen in the midst of it that you want to see that is newsworthy. Yeah. Because I believe God has created the Hope Center to be a safe space and fun place for the community to come to. We try to set the atmosphere, both musically as well as vocally, and we always intermingle with the community itself. And so, yes, you're going to come in, you'll hear Christian artists sing, rappers, spoken word that takes place. There'll be vendors that are selling little items. You'll have free food that is there. You'll have inflatables on the basketball court. You'll have ice cream stands that'll be in there, water stands that are there, petting zoo from exotic animals. Whoever thought that there'll be kangaroos there in the hood? And so there's these
little down under there for you.
Right,
little down under.
And it's a great time, and the community looks forward to it.
Yeah.
And they come together of all ages, and again, when we see the fathers and we see men that are coming in, we just celebrate them. Yeah. Because we want them to know, man, this is important that you're here. And so it's a great time, and we do about 5 events throughout the year that is outdoor based, and it brings together our neighborhood like no other, and they get a chance to appreciate that.
Yeah, so because you got the community, then you get the community's approval, and then you're able to start these different things that are, the finance and. Okay, so now, what do you guys need? What do you need help with? And then what's your website so that people just let us know what you're doing. Yeah.
Well, first of all, prayer is essential.
Absolutely.
It's not just something that you say, because I believe that if it doesn't happen in prayer, it doesn't happen. So prayer is essential. We need your listeners to be able to just undergird the Hope Center KC in prayer.
Yeah.
Second of all, we definitely need volunteers for our outreach events, volunteers for our programs, those who like to come to serve days to be able to serve, whether it's painting or working in our garden, electricians, plumbers, carpenters. We need all hard and soft skills
There
to come
you go.
together.
That's cool.
Yeah, of course, we would love to have our monthly donors, individuals who would come together and become hope investors. And as a result, from whatever little that they can give, that they would give in a consistent way and faithfully throughout the months. Those who desire to give one-time gifts, even, we always welcome that as well.
Yeah.
But partnerships are key. We don't want transactional relationships. We want individuals to recognize
That's so
that
good.
you want to be invested in what we do, and we want you to see it. And so
Yeah.
come and see it. You know,
Yeah.
we have vision tours that we host every single week, and we'd love to see individuals who are interested in doing that. So the way you reach us is you can go to www.hopecenterkc.org. That's hopecenterkc.org. I don't know if people say www anymore. So it's hopecenterkc.org, and you'll see us both on a Facebook. It's the same website. You can go to Instagram. You can go to YouTube and watch all the videos that we have at hopecenterkc.org as well.
And I'm going to go subscribe to that channel.
Please do. Please subscribe. And that's the way you get a chance to see us in living color.
That's so cool. And well, anyway, it's really great to have you. And I was praying for this before we started, and I just said, you guys are in a marathon, and you might be on the 9th mile right now. You might be on the 7th mile. You got 20 some. 18 to go, whatever, however many miles more it is. But you guys really have sunk your teeth into this and are going forward, and you're not leaving, and that's really impressive. And that's why you've got such a vibrant community that is growing and gathering around Hope Center.
And here in October, we're going to have at least one guy, if not two, at the same time on from Love KC and Unite KC.
Yes.
Yeah, Ray Jarrett,
Ray
Oh,
Jarrett.
my boys,
Gary.
Gary
We've
and
already
Ray.
got Gary confirmed, and he's going to invite Ray.
I knew he knows these people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
maybe, I'm sure that maybe there's connections there that you can work with as
Oh,
well.
They're already deeply
already
involved.
connected
Yeah,
with
they're
us.
deeply
And
involved.
Okay, cool.
they've
I
held an
assumed maybe they
event
were,
at the
but-
gathering too, and so
Yeah, they're
those are my
solid. Those are
guys.
solid
Those are
people,
my
yeah.
guys. Yeah.
Well, and he kind of thought that I don't know what all is involved there, but again, I'm a lifelong Northland resident, and God has blessed me to be a connector of people, to bring people together for all kinds of different things. And he thought that maybe possibly their organization might need a representative. I don't know if they do, but there might be a need in the Northland for.
Absolutely. And all those of you on the Northland that live in Staley Hills with me, I would love for you to continue to join us as well. Three of my 5 kids went to Staley High School and graduated from Staley High School. And so we love, because we know we're part of the Northland Chamber, and we know that
been
Northland
involved in
can
that
support.
with different jobs I've had over the years.
Yes.
I did sales for, and I tell people a lot of times, almost anybody that goes to Northland Chamber, Gladstone Chamber, Liberty Chamber, Parkville Chamber, Riverside Chamber, they all know me.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been to a lot of their meetings in years because I'm not in a sales position now. But if I walk into any of them,
Yes.
there's going to be at least 1, 2, maybe more people. Hey, John Losh,
Right.
long time no see. And I miss being at those gatherings.
Yeah.
I loved business networking. I mean, I'm like Mr. Networker.
They're a blessing to us. 7:30, actually at the gathering, we hosted the Northland's leadership cohort as for a breakfast meeting. And so
for
it
the
was
Gary
at the
Kendall?
gathering.
Yeah, for Gary Kendall. Yeah.
And so it was really good. And the Northland Chamber came with their leadership cohort and took a tour around. And then we let them utilize our buses to go and visit other nonprofits in the Northland area.
That's
here.
crazy.
So there's a great partnership that occurs. We need to see even more connections that will take place here in the Northland in a great way.
Well, yeah, so thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been really great having you, and just I pray that the God will continue to bless your organization and bring you the unexpected resources that you need, but you didn't know.
Amen. We see it on the horizon,
Yeah, we just
and
pray
that's
that.
why we have faith.
Yeah, thank you, Jesus. Amen.